I just think if you're like me, you're just afraid to talk about it. But I think we might as well talk about it. Might as well.
Hello everybody, how you doing? I want to thank you all for joining me on my 6th episode of Might As Well Talk About It. I'm so thankful each episode. I hope that it's getting better. I hope that I'm doing my part by giving out information and tips and giving the advice of people who may need to hear it, for those out there who are struggling with this anxiety, struggling with GAD, struggling with all the things that anxiety can manifest. I hope that I'm in some way helping by just telling you all my struggles. That's what this is about. And I've learned to accept this and the fact that, you know, I'm going through what I'm going through. I've been going through what I've been going through to hopefully help, even if it's just one person. So I'm going to get started. Like I said, I like to keep it brief. You all know by now, the ones who have been watching, what I do. I like to share my journals with you all. And then, you know, I go on with the rest of the program. So thank you all for tuning in. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this journal was dated January the 25th of 2017. So I says, doing well enough so far to try to accept my symptoms as anxiety. But I still let the smallest or slightest symptom consume my thoughts all day unless I am physically doing something that can distract me. I get mild headaches or dull pains, and then I immediately get a wave of nervousness or anxiety about it because my mind goes to thinking the worst. I get a sharp pain in my breast. I'm thinking the worst. Abdominal mild pain, I'm thinking the worst. I did look up symptoms of PMS just to try and give myself some reassurance that some of these symptoms are also because of PMS, like breast soreness, heavy breast, stomach pain, mild, very gassy, upset stomach, mild nausea, mild headache, can't sleep. So I try to keep that in mind, along with the fact that I get other symptoms that I have all the time, like weird brain sensations, acid reflux, heartburn, unbalanced, falling sensations, eye floaters. And some of these symptoms are truly not that bad to deal with and come and go. Some days I don't really notice most of it until my anxiety brings me to getting worried. But the main few that still bothers me more is the unbalanced feeling sensations, and when I feel sharp pains in different areas, which I try to convince myself it could be gas because I seem to always be more of a gassy person. Now, you know what? I forgot I had wrote this. I seem to always be more of a gassy person, always. But other than that, I truly should be more thankful and try not to worry so much. My sleep patterns are doing okay. Some days are better. I've actually had a few days I can recall napping throughout the whole morning until the mid-afternoon, but I'd have to listen to something. I usually listen to YouTube, a spiritual tell. It helps me relax. So, you know, in that journal, at that point in the journal, I was basically coming around to better days. Better days were coming. So that was like that phase of me feeling like, okay, it's coming along. I'm accepting anxiety. But then again, I wasn't truly accepting it because I would still allow the smallest or the slightest little things to get to me and hold me down, and I'd be in tunnel vision for the whole day. I could have one or two little simple symptoms that anxiety brings, and I'm dwelling on it the entire day. And because I would allow that to happen, it would just mess up my day, and it'll go from one day being bad to the next day being bad. It was like I couldn't stay on that gain of having the good momentum because I would just allow at the time the smallest little symptoms to just ruin my whole day, which basically, in a nutshell, I just was not fully accepting anxiety and what I was going through. But yeah, so I remember that journal, but I was coming around and seeing some better days. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the best part of my video, which is the topic. There will be setbacks, the setbacks to come. Like whatever phase you're in this anxiety journal or journey, for most people, you know, you may be in that phase where you're just going through what you're going through. You are bewildered, you're afraid, so you are in the worst of your phase because you're not understanding what's happening to you. You are allowing that fear to drive you, to keep you trapped. You're in tunnel vision all day. You become depressed because you're just not understanding what's happening. You have not accepted the fact that anxiety can do these things to you. So that's like that first phase. That was the phase that I was in when I very first went through this. And then you may move along. Some people may be in that next phase where they're beginning to see better days and they're beginning to feel like, okay, things are coming along, and you might have a few bad days, but you've noticed now that you're having some good days. So you may be in that phase, and then you have some who's in the phase where they've passed that, and then, they're starting to see like some good days. They're starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting over this anxiety. I'm actually doing all right now. I'm back to me. I'm back 100%. You know, I've been in that stage too. And then you have that last phase well, I wouldn't say last phase, but then you'll have another phase where you feel like you've retracted, or that you have went backwards, setbacks. So, whatever phase you may be in, it's all about just the acceptance of knowing that you're going to have some good days, you're going to have some bad days, you're going to have setbacks. So that's why I decided to go with this, because even though I've been through this now for about 4 years, I have been through the cycle enough now to know, like, I'm doing better. I still have some days where I get in tunnel vision and I'm back to doing my usual bad habits of Googling and worrying and thinking, oh gosh, what's happening? But I can tell definitely that I'm a lot more educated on what I'm going through, so I don't let it hold me down as much as I used to. I'll continue to go on throughout my day, and I'll discuss what I'm talking about shortly. But I've begin to come to a point where I'm like, okay, I'll be all right. And even if whatever is happening, whatever, I'm just going to keep on going and doing what I'm doing. So I've definitely begun to realize that I'm doing better in my journey. So I'm coming along on just understanding it better and accepting it better and better. So it's not like how it was the first go round, my first cycle of it. I was trash, y'all. I was trashed in this anxiety, and I was just in the dumps, and I couldn't get out of it because I could not get over being bewildered and afraid of it. But now I'm doing a lot better, so I can tell. So like I said, this is just the phases of the anxiety, or people who's going through GAD. So I just wanted to discuss that today. So that's why my topic today was, there will be setbacks to come. A lot of times we might not realize that we have triggers that can cause the setbacks. Understanding, that you have triggers that can cause your setbacks, it can allow you to understand, like, okay, to either stay away from those triggers, or to stay away from what could cause you to try to eliminate what can cause you those triggers that can cause your setbacks, or that can cause you to have those spirals of bad days. Understanding the causes of your anxiety, which are triggers, but understanding, like, okay, I know this is what's going to make my anxiety high. I know that if I watch scary movies, or I know that if I hear about somebody passing, or if I dwell on it, or if I hear about something going wrong with someone else, or if I eat this certain food, or if I go to a certain place that reminds me of this, or just anything that you have been doing, or any behaviors, or anything that you notice that's in your environment, or people. Sometimes it may be the people that you're around that could cause your anxiety, and it could even be family, friends, or people that's not your friends, on the job, whoever. If you realize that they cause high anxiety, I know sometimes you can't avoid it, because if it's at work or at school, you still have to be around it, but try to avoid those things that are causing your anxiety. So know and understand the causes of your anxiety. You got to perceive things differently, look at things in a different light, or a different manner of your setbacks, and just take it, accept it as that. And then also, just learning from your setbacks is vital. To just learn in that time, by reading, by educating yourself on all the things of anxiety, all the symptoms, all the possible symptoms that anxiety could bring. Educate yourself on it. Look at others' stories who have had success in overcoming their anxiety and their GAD. Learn from them. Read from what they've been going through, and talk about how they have gotten through their setbacks. So yeah, just to basically learn from it, and just the stages. Understand that there will be setbacks, and understand that stage from having GAD to the setbacks, and then knowing that the cycle can repeat itself if you're not fully engaged in understanding what you're going through and accepting it. And then lastly, taking anxiety with you throughout the day, and I will discuss that shortly, but take the anxiety along with you and keep it rolling, keep it moving. Around December is when things kind of came around for me. I was beginning to see better days, and I had begun to say, you know what, I think I'm all right. I had went to doctors numerous enough of times to finally get to a point where it kind of clicked in my head. A light bulb came on like, girl, you all right. So as I had begun to notice myself calming down, my nerves calming down a bit, I was doing a little better. So I felt that. And I was on a roll. I had begun to gain my weight back. So that gave me some confidence that I needed to keep the momentum going. So, you know, I was on a roll for a good little while, and I would have some bad days, but it was just like, okay, I'm okay with it, kind of. So my very first setback was having the panic attacks at work, and I just kept feeling like, okay, something isn't right. And I went back to going back to the doctors again, getting blood work and Googling and doing what I was doing. And I just didn't allow myself to get out of that rut that I was in. I had remained in tunnel vision. And at the time, because it was my first time going through it, I would, you know, be reminded like, okay, gosh, these symptoms, it was so uncomfortable for me. And I would just get so scared and afraid of the symptoms and being sensitized that I allowed it to take my whole day away from me. I would dwell on it and I couldn't get over it. So then one day became 2 days, 2 days became 3, then a week. Then I looked up, I was back in that funk again for, you know, months at a time before I could kind of come back out of it. For me, my biggest fear was death, or is death, and someone that was a very close friend of the family passed away. So I think that had set me back as well, because I was thinking, oh God, someone died, and wondering why they died and what they died from, you know, all of that same old stuff that came along with it, which was a trigger for me. And I would hear people say, you got to practice acceptance, or hear the experts say, practice accepting the anxiety. It took me a while to understand, like, what do you mean? Like, I needed that to be broken down better, because I was just like, what do you mean by practice acceptance? I know what the word practice mean. I know what acceptance mean, but like, show me or tell me, give me examples of what do you mean by practicing acceptance of your anxiety. You know, when you're trying to better yourself or get better at something, because that's why you practice to get better at something. It seems that, you know, you're far away from that light. You're far away from what it is, the goal you're trying to reach when you're practicing. So sometimes you get setbacks, or sometimes you get discouraged in it. Going through something that's traumatic, or going through something that has never happened to you before, or trying to learn something, trying to practice something. Just think about it again. Think about when you're practicing a sport and this is your first time doing it. Sometimes it takes people longer to get things or to grasp the concept of certain things, and some people can get it just like that. Well, for me, I will say in this, because I was more bewildered and afraid by the situation, it just took me a while to grasp what accepting what I was going through meant, or practicing to kind of get used to it. And I'll be honest, I had someone around me a lot of the times of me going through, when I was first going through this, I had someone around me who was encouraging me, giving me tips, giving me some advice, because ironically, he had experienced anxiety, so he knew what it was like. So he was giving me all kind of nuggets and tips of how to get through it, and telling me exactly what I was going through, but I still just could not grasp it. I still could not get the concept and accept it to say, okay, what he told me, okay, it makes sense. I just still wasn't getting it. So I was having a hard time trying to get to that phase of understanding and my recovery. I still was not accepting it. So it was almost as if like he was just talking to a brick wall. The words he was saying was going in one ear and out the other. You have to learn how to actuate those key things that it would take when practicing your acceptance. And like I said, I couldn't quite understand at first what it meant to practice. I couldn't understand at first what it meant when people would say to practice acceptance, and those words, like when they would tell me changing your words of the what ifs to so what's. And I'll get into this shortly about it, but when you would, you know those two words that most of us anxiety sufferers, we would say, what if we're going through this, what if it's this, or what if it's this disease, or what if what I'm feeling is this, or what if the doctors didn't get this right, or what if they missed something. Those two words would drive your whole day. Learn how to still carry on with your day, or carry on with your usual routine as if nothing is going on, or learning how to, or regardless of how you felt, and learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That was definitely one that I could not get it. It just took me a while. I kept asking, when I would be on my forum, be on the Health Unlocked forum, asking like, what do you mean by be comfortable with being uncomfortable? I'm trying it, but why is it not working? And just that ride the wave, that was another one. Those key things you have to learn to actuate or put into action or practice when you're having your bad days or your rough days, or even when you're having your good days. Practice those key things, those nuggets to remember, to hold on to. And I wanted that to be broken down better, so I would ask, or I would research or search up, what do these people mean when they're telling me this? I need to know. How he said, accepting and not cringing from what you are feeling. That's basically what it means when you're just accepting your anxiety. Don't cringe. Don't shy away from it. Just accept it. Full acceptance, utter acceptance of how you're feeling, and just knowing and having the confidence of knowing like it's only anxiety, and just accept it. Those symptoms that you may feel, just let it flow through. And that's what it meant by ride the wave. So if you're having a moment, you might be laying down in your bed and you're feeling this adrenaline rush coming up your legs or up your body, or you may have that racing heart or that pounding heart. You may sweat. You may have that unbalanced feeling. You may have a feeling of dropping sensation. You may have that feeling of tingling or numbing sensations, or you may have that when you're having a panic attack, the tightness in your throat, or you may have that feeling like or the tightness in your chest, or you may feel that you're losing control, or you're feeling that doom and gloom. Let it, when they say ride the wave, that means just let it happen, let it come on through, and then let it just pass on over. You're making 2 steps forward and then bam, 4 steps back. Or you're taking 3 steps forward and now you're 5 steps back, like you're starting all over again, as if you've just gone through this anxiety for the first time. And sometimes that happens. And you just got to realize and say to yourself, you got to practice saying, thinking, and doing things of affirmations that can kind of get you through those moments or those bad and those rough days. So, keep on doing your usual as if anxiety isn't even there. So that's what they mean by go along with your day, or carry on with your day as usual, as if nothing is going on. So, okay, you might be having a stomach ache, or you might be feeling nauseous, which, we've learned, or if you've studied and educated yourself that anxiety can do this to you. So you're feeling bad. You got a little headache. You know that you having a sharp pain in your arm, or sharp pain in your chest, or your stomach feels bad. You're feeling a little dizzy or a little unbalanced. You had that dropping sensation as you were sitting down. If you still got something you got going on for that day, still get up and go do it. That's what it means to still carry on with your day as if nothing is going on. You got to not allow that second fear to kick in. Same little symptoms that you have of anxiety. If you got something you had going on for that day, you still need to go to the grocery store to go shopping, still go do it. You got something to do for your kids, still go do it. You have to be to work today, still go and do it. And you'll realize, like, as your mind begins to, your subconscious begins to not see what you're feeling, or those symptoms as a meaning, as a threat, then you will continue to go on with your day. Why are they saying that? How can you be comfortable with, I'm trying, but I feel so bad? It basically means like, okay, so what? You'll feel bad, you'll feel rubbish, you'll feel down, you'll feel ill a little bit, because that's what you thinking your symptoms is making you do. It's making you feel ill. You feel like you might have a flu coming on, or you feel sick because you're nauseous, you can't eat, or your stomach feels bad, you have a headache, and you're just feeling like, oh gosh, what's going on with me? Be comfortable. Basically, we're just saying, be comfortable with knowing that that's how you're going to feel. If you totally accept that it is anxiety, be comfortable with it. Just say, okay, gosh, I got a headache. Oh, well, keep on going on with your day. Or you have a stomach ache, keep on going on with your day. Just be comfortable with knowing that's what it is. That's what it meant by being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and turning your what ifs into so what's. Just say, so what? So what? I feel like crap today, but keep on going about your day. And that's what I had begun to learn when I was going through what I was going through. I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. I still got things I got to do. I still got to take care of my kids. I still have to get to work. I still got this, I got that. And I had begun to get better with doing it. And I would look up, and months passed, and I'm back on a good roll again, back in that momentum, back in the swing of things again. And I'm like, okay, so that's just what you got to do. So that's what it means by those few key things that you have to actuate when you're going through your bad days. And so in those bad days, take that time to study, or take that time to practice the acceptance. Look at it as if, like, okay, just like a vacation. You go on vacation, look at the good days that you may, if you may be on a roll in your anxiety and you're on a good roll, a good momentum, a good stretch with your good days. Take that time to look at it as if you're on vacation. Think about it. Vacation don't last forever, but you're having a good time on vacation. You're enjoying the moments. So that's how you got to look at it if you're on a good day or on a roll with your good days going through this journey of anxiety. So take it like you're on vacation. And then what happens when vacation is over? It's back to work, right? Back to your responsibility. So that's how you have to look at it when those bad days kick back in, or you may find yourself back in a few bad days, or you're in a stretch of that spiral. Like this is life. Even outside of anxiety, you're not going to always have good days forever. So you have to look at it like some bad days are going to come around. So it's no different with going through what you're going through. You're going to have some bad days. I was on a roll so good and thinking I'm back at it. I'm back to myself. I'm back 100%. And I would slip and have a setback, and it was like I almost forgot how anxiety felt. So now my cycle starts back over again. I was going through that, and I'm still going through it. So I'm not saying it's because this is over for me. I'm still struggling. I'm still learning. So we have to be confident in knowing that it's all a part of anxiety. Those are the symptoms. So when you have those few little days of setbacks, don't turn those few days into months. You got to get a hold of your mind and the way you're thinking right when you have those little slip-ups and have those bad days. And don't let it discourage you, because you will get discouraged and thinking like, oh gosh, I'm starting back over again. Why is this happening to me? I'm going to never recover. And that's what's going to keep it. When you discourage yourself and saying negative things, adding the negativity on top of the fear and being bewildered, is just going to make it worse, and which is going to make the setback even worse. Confidence is extremely important to building your momentum in your road to recovery. Stop avoiding and start doing the things you fear gradually. Start with an intention. Perfect practice makes perfect. So remember what it means to practice. Remember what it means to accept. Put those two words together and you will have it, what it means to practice acceptance of what we are going through, what we're going through. 6 steps to recovery. Number 1, that's complete acceptance. 2, becoming knowledgeable of what it is that you're going through. 3, build on the facts. Like I said, confidence is key when you're building on what you're going through. Have that confidence in knowing what you're going through is just anxiety, and building that self-esteem. Taking action, actuate. Like I said, put into action those key things, those words of affirmations, thinking, saying, and doing those things that's going to help you when you're going through your rough days. Make a plan and implement that plan. Accepting the setback. So like I said, when you have the setbacks, because you will have the setbacks, don't get discouraged in that. Just like a baby that falls down, don't they get right back up and they try to walk again? They'll fall again, but they'll get right back up. So when you have those setbacks, know that you're going to have them. Just already having your mind knowing that you're going to have some setbacks. Just like knowing your mind, you're going to have some bad days. You can't expect everything to always just be the highs and never the lows. So you're going to have it. So if you know in your mind that you're going to have the setbacks or have the bad days, then you can, the perception of it, it will help you better when it does come along, to not stay in it for so long and discourage yourself to a point where you're back depressed again, and then the cycle starts back over. So accepting the setbacks. And number 6, patience. Patience. There's no set time that the recovery will be. No set time for recovery. Look at it as a long-term plan. Like if you're setting a goal for something, just think about if you're setting a goal, you're not going to achieve it in one day, right? It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get there. You have to put it together, put the plan together, then you have to implement it, then you start doing it, but it's still not going to happen overnight. I would be on a roll for months, and then I had that setback and I forgot all about the bad days, and that's how I started back over with my cycle, because I forgot. But you got to realize it's a long-term plan that you have to keep going at, and you have to keep being consistent. You have to keep practicing and keep doing it. So when you have those setbacks, you'll be all right in them. You'll keep on going and doing what you're doing, learning and growing from that. Learn from your setbacks and grow from your setbacks. And this is from Joyce Meyer, again from the book, The Battlefield of the Mind. I will continue to read this book because it does help me. It's informative. It helps me along in my journey, once again, to just basically give myself positive words of affirmations as much as I possibly can. It talks about renewing your mind. The renewing of your mind will take place little by little. So don't be discouraged if progress seems slow. If we receive the freedom too quickly, it's that pride. It will consume us if we receive too much freedom too quickly. It is actually better to be set at liberty in one area at a time. That way we appreciate our freedom more. We realize it is truly a gift from God and not something we can make happen in our own strength. We like everything instantaneous. We have the fruit of patience inside, but it is being worked to the outside. Sometimes God takes his time about bringing us to our full deliverance. He uses the difficult period of waiting to stretch our faith and to let patience have her perfect work. God's timing is perfect. He is never late. So you just got to remember that, when you're going through what you're going through, patience is key. So that's one of them. Like I told you, one of the 6 ways of recovery, patience is definitely a big part of it. So you got to learn to just be patient in what you're going through. Nothing will happen overnight, especially if it's a good thing. When you're trying to when you want a good thing in life, when you're trying to pursue a great thing, it's not going to happen overnight. And it's the same thing with this. You're trying to pursue conquering this anxiety. So you're trying to get to that other side of peace, right? So when you're trying to get to that side, trying to pursue something, a great thing, you're going to have struggles and you're going to have setbacks. So you got to remember that. Just remember, the devil will try his hardest to stop you in this area of renewing your mind. He knows that his control over you is finished once you have learned to choose right thoughts and reject the wrong ones. He will attempt to stop you through discouragement and condemnation. So getting discouraged, that's one of the things that will pretty much make your journey to recovery, a full recovery, hard, because you get discouraged. You get discouraged in your setbacks. So you got to remember that's going to be a part of it, is the setbacks. So just remember that. Keep on keeping on, like I've said before. You got to keep on keeping on in this journey. I'm still not finished. I'm still going through my rough times, but I'm seeing the light of certain things and I'm perceiving things in a better way. So I felt like it would make sense for me to share what I'm going through, because somebody might be in the very phase that I'm in. You may be in one of the other phases that I mentioned. You may be right at the beginning stages of your anxiety where you have no clue what the hell is going on with you. You're bewildered. You're afraid. You might be in that stage where you're seeing better days and you're like, okay, it's coming around. Then you might be in that stage where now you've had a setback and you're like, what's going on? Am I going to ever get through this? So whatever phase you're in, you just got to keep on keeping on. Don't get discouraged. Just know that there will be setbacks. So that's the part that you have to remember. That is key. Remember, it will be setbacks. There will be bad days, but to keep on pressing on, and it will get better. I would like to thank you all for joining me on my 6th video, my 6th broadcast of Might As Well Talk About It. It's going to get better. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I appreciate you all who watch. I appreciate you all who like. I appreciate you all who have subscribed. Join me next time. I look forward to seeing you all. Again, I'm Ebony J. I will see y'all next time.